One thing is for certain, it doesn't matter whether I'm on my deathbed ill or traveling across the country for work, I'm buying manga. Now, as always, we're going to be doing a monthly manga haul, this time being the month of June. And I know I said last month that I was going to hold off a little bit because I was getting a bookshelf and I don't have enough space right now, but wouldn't you know it, I've got more manga. So let's just get things underway. Let's showcase all the stuff that I got, the new series on my bookshelf, the timely releases, and also the random other stuff I got. I'm gonna start off with brand new releases, ones that you've probably seen in other videos, save the best for last, ha ha ha. But we're also gonna be starting off this video with a little bit of spice. This is the second omnibus consisting of volumes 3 and 4 of Darling in the Franxx. Now, I ended up reading the first omnibus volume since I first got that, and I actually kind of enjoyed Darling in the Franxx. I think the story is somewhat interesting. I'm a little bit intrigued by the characters, especially 02 here. She's definitely much different than the rest of them, and it's opened up a little bit of the potential plot and a little bit of the things. I don't know much about Darling in the Franxx myself. I have not seen the anime, so this is my first experience with it, and I thought it was a good first and second volume. Technically, it's 1 and 2. Not just one, but either way, I'm excited to continue it. I have heard that this is a different ending than the anime, which I know a lot of people mostly have issues with the ending when it comes to the anime, so I'm excited to see where this takes the ending. I know I could look it up, but I don't want to spoil it for myself, right? Now, staying on romance, but a little bit more of the wholesome side, I've got Adachi and Shimamura Volume 9. I absolutely love this wholesome Yuri series. I've started reading a lot more of the volumes, trying to catch up. As of late, I have read up to volume 5 now, so volume 6 is the next one that I gotta do. And I just love this relationship. I really like this story. It's wholesome. It allows me to just sit, relax, read, gives me some good laughs, so reminds me of I am also full of anxiety, but I'm also like pretty aloof and like analytical at times and kind of standoffish a little bit. I relate to both of these characters a little bit, and it's just a good light novel series overall, especially because we just had Pride Month. You know, I wanted to get, you'll see this kind of theme. I have several LGBTQ volumes that I'm very excited about, so glad to add this to my collection. Easy to find in my opinion. And again, if you ever get the chance to read this, whether that's the light novel version or the manga version or watching the anime adaptation, highly encourage that you get into this because it's just really cute. Another Yuri series that definitely brought the funnies in my opinion, Catch These Hands Volume 2. So you may remember me talking about Volume 1 when I first got that, and I said that I was a little bit hesitant because I heard a lot of mixed feelings about it. So since then, I have read Volume 1 of this series, and I actually really liked it. I mean, I thought it was fun. I thought it was cute. I thought it had a lot of good moments in the series, and it had a lot of options to build itself off of. It's definitely slice of life, so I could see how some people think of it as like repetitive or slow and things like that, but I thought it was decently paced. I thought it was very fun. I thought it had a lot of good things inside of it, and I decided to pick up Volume 2. I haven't jumped into it yet, but I do know that I think that I'm going to enjoy this, and hopefully I do. Hopefully it doesn't start getting repetitive now that we're in Volume 2, approaching Volume 3, etc. But it's a lot of fun. If you like delinquents, you like maybe tsunderes, then this is definitely a series that I think you're going to enjoy. So definitely maybe try it out if you find it. Now, there's not really any romance in this series, but it is top tier in my opinion. Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 16. So this is the newest installment of the Jujutsu Kaisen series, releasing in the United States and I guess the rest of the world as well. And I absolutely cannot wait. I was really waiting in Anime Expo for maybe a season 2 kind of preview announcement, looking teaser even. But since they just made the Zero movie, you got to give them a little bit more time. I mean, we got a lot of hype with stuff like Chainsaw Man and things like that, Panty and Stockings and whatnot. So this is probably what a lot of people who are getting getting into anime are being recommended, and I also cannot recommend this enough. I have not read all the way up to volume 15, 16 in this series. I'm staying up to date alongside the anime to not spoil anything for myself, and it's a little bit hard to hold back, but love what Geiji Akutami has been doing, and I cannot wait for what's to come in this series. One series that I have been keeping up with every single volume that comes out, Komi Can't Communicate volume 19. Now, I adore this series to all end. It's arguably one of my favorite series to date. It's right up there with Chainsaw Man and such. I've actually also started watching the second season of the anime now that I actually have Netflix, because I mean, I have a new job, a little bit more pay, so like I'm treating myself a little bit more. And I absolutely love this series so much, whether that's the anime, whether that's the manga. I just love watching it and seeing this story unfold. Sometimes it's a little bit predictable, and sometimes things may seem a little bit repetitive, but it's always a ton of fun, and there's always new things alongside. I actually think volume 19 out of a lot of the volumes actually did a little bit more for the series in terms of just trying out something different, and I really appreciate that for different series. I absolutely love Komi. She's one of my favorites. Absolutely anxiety queen, me too. And you know what, if you're really looking for a good rom-com that you could probably find a lot in stores right now, this is a good series to pick up. I feel like I see Komi Can't Communicate in a bunch of different stores with a bunch of volumes on the shelf. They printed this really heavily, in my opinion. Another comedy that you can pick up, especially for shonen fans, Sakamoto Days Volume 2. So this is a relatively new shonen series, a new action comedy type thing, and it's actually really funny in my opinion. I really enjoyed volume 1, so I'm excited to be able to get and read and continue this series. If you read another series that's relatively new, Crazy Food Truck, this has a lot of similarities to it in my opinion. I mean, I believe Sakamoto Days was actually first, but you get what I mean. I mean, just look at this character. He's riding a roller coaster holding a churro and a drink, and there's guns, there's gals, there's everything you could possibly think of in this series, and it's a ton of fun. It's got a lot of different opportunities and chances to go into a lot of different sections story. It's almost kind of slice of life as well, I think. I mean, although many people won't really relate to it in terms of a normal slice of life, it is kind of just like the everyday thing of being a former hitman and being chased by a lot of people. Excited to take a read in this here soon. Now, a series that I absolutely adore, one of my all-time favorites as of right now, it's Call of the Night, this one being volume 8. Now, Call of the Night is an excellent series that is actually just starting soon on High Dive in terms of its anime adaptation, and I cannot be more excited. I absolutely love this kind of romance anime, except it's got a little bit more than just romance. Like, a lot of times you might not even think that this is a romance anime because it's so shonen, I guess you could say. I don't know. But personally, reading volume 8, because this is one of the series that I read right away no matter what else I'm reading at the time. I think Kotoyama did a really good job of jumping to the next level in terms of the plot of this story. If you don't know what it is, it deals with vampires, and if you want to become a vampire, you have to be bit by a vampire that you absolutely love. Like, you have to fall in love with the vampire. So we have our main character who struggles with the concept of falling in love, and so determining and finding out what that exactly means to fall in love. It's truly a good story, and I really like it, and I cannot wait for more volumes and also the anime to come out, because it's one of the most anticipated anime for me this summer, along with several others that we'll actually talk about later in this video. Now, moving into another light novel, the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated as an aristocrat. The world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. This is volume 5 of the series. Now, I did recently read the first volume, and I did enjoy it. I watched the anime as well, and I enjoyed it. I think I like the light novel better than the anime, not because the anime was bad, but just because the first scene, especially in the anime, I think does a little bit of spoiling for later in the season, and so that's an added scene that wasn't present in the light novels, so the light novels didn't have that and it just went straight into the story, which I appreciated a little bit more. But yeah, if you did not guess from the super long title, this is an isekai series, and it's one of those OP isekai series where the main character is super powerful. Now he has to kind of grow into that role, but he doesn't necessarily struggle too much, at least in the first volume. I haven't read anywhere past that, but I've heard that this series is very good. People like this series. It's not the biggest fan base, so right, it's not like ReZero or Mushoku Tensei type of levels of the amount of people, but it's still got a good dedicated fan base that loves this series, and I am one of them. If they have 30, I am one of them. If they have one, I am one of them. That meme. These volumes you can relatively find easily, I feel like, at bookstores in real life, and it's also got a manga adaptation as well if you prefer to read in manga. I believe it's like 3 volumes as of right now. Now this seinen series exclusively is manga. Well, I mean, you can watch the first season of the anime, but if you want to go beyond the anime, like volume 7 of Blue Period, jump into the manga. I absolutely love Blue Period. This is a good kind of seinen coming of age story, especially trying to find one's identity, and once someone finds that identity, latching onto it and never letting go. Our main character aspires to be an artist, but they started wanting to become an artist like their final year of high school, or very close to that, and so trying to get into one of the most competitive art schools in the country of Japan, that's not an easy feat for a beginner. This story has a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and I absolutely adore it. I love this series a ton. It's it's good for mature readers, I think, as well. Also, on the back of this volume, this is my new sleep paralysis demon. Glad you have met him. I think that's the point of his character, though, regarding our main character's reaction to it. But it's just a high quality manga in general, in my opinion. There's no word, at least right now, I think that there's a second season on the way in the works. You would have to assume so, because, I mean, Blue Period was a good adaptation, in my opinion. And, I mean, it's now reaching into the university arc in both the manga and the anime, and so I'm excited to see what is next for Yatora Yaguchi and to see where the next phase of his life takes him, especially because I myself have been through college in doing something that I didn't really have much experience with prior. Now, I didn't have to try to get into like a super prestigious competitive school or anything. I just kind of applied and said I was a student athlete and they let me in, but I kind of relate to it a little bit. Now, one series that I haven't really related to at all, mostly because I've never had my own harem, is a Date Alive Volume 6. This light novel series, a little bit more behind than the anime, I would say, in terms of this. This is the Lily Miku kind of arc, I guess you could say. And I absolutely love this series. It's kind of like one of my guilty pleasure series, if you will. Season 4 of the anime just ended, and season 5 has been announced to be in production. And I really liked season 4. It was a little bit weird in the beginning, but once it really started going, and once we really started getting into kind of the sleepy gal, or the gal in space, the story and the anime actually started getting better and better. So really excited to jump into volume 6 here soon. I gotta read a couple other things before I jump into this, though, but very good in my opinion. I hope they, again, this one is, well, this is actually not as easy to pick up, I feel like. I mean, just about every store has Date Alive volumes, but they usually only have like one Date Alive volume each. Like, they may have 6 Date Alive volumes in stock, but it's like one volume of volume 1, one volume of volume 2, one volume of volume 3, 4, 5, 6. So like, you might get in a situation where you get a bunch of the series, but you may be missing like volume 2 or volume 3, etc. You know, it's very interesting how they print this series, in my opinion. Now, this next series you can find a ton of in any of these bookstores. I got volume 6 of Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. So I actually got all the versions of this series. I don't have one of the versions yet. The Kinokuniya, I think that's how you pronounce it, version. I don't live near one, so I had to order it online, and so it's on the way. It actually should be here within the next like day or two. But I also got the Barnes & Noble exclusive and Books A Million exclusive volumes for this series as well. I think Books A Million is my favorite of all 4 of the covers, but one cool thing about this is if you get the Barnes & Noble version of this series, this is the only one of the series that has kind of a raised heart. So like in the other volumes, you look at this Wotakoi heart and it's flat. It's completely, you know, just on the paper. But if you look at the Wotakoi one, it's a type of raised volume. It's like glossy. It's really, really cool. I actually like it a ton, and I'm super happy that they did this with one of the volumes because it makes it just a little bit more different and a little bit more unique and a little bit more exclusive. But I actually already read volume 6. I enjoyed this so much. It was actually a really, really good ending to this series. You could have, you know what, predicted how it was going to go, and honestly it probably would have been good if it did go in that specific way, but this series didn't go in the way that I actually thought it was going to. Not to say that it was like, whoa, oh my gosh, I never would have thought of that, but without spoiling, it was just not the one that I predicted, and it was still really, really good, and I was still left after this series really, really satisfied. I mean, Wotakoi, one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. Definitely one that is up there for the Memories, a legendary series. And if you're looking for, I believe this is a Josei series. If you're looking for just a fun Josei series to really keep you laughing and to keep your heart light, this is one that you should definitely grab. Start getting them before the series gets low on prints and things like that. Yeah, there's going to be a box set for this series that comes out in November. So honestly, if you want to wait, definitely do that. And then if you want to buy the exclusive versions, go ahead, buy those now, because obviously those won't be in the boxes. But yeah, it's like November 22nd is when this series comes out in box set form. So definitely try to get that if you haven't jumped on the Wotakoi series already. For the time being, you can actually watch the anime. The anime has a single season and OVA, I believe. I believe it's stuck on like Amazon Prime, which is a little bit obscure for anime watchers. But you know what? You could do like a free trial and just binge the whole thing in like one night, honestly. It's that good of a series. You're gonna want to binge it. Now, another rom-com that might make you want to pull your hair out is Rent a Girlfriend. Often the butt of the meme where stuff doesn't happen for 200 chapters. Does not bother me. I absolutely love this series. This is another one of my guilty pleasure. The second season actually just started airing for the anime, and I'm super, super excited because I've read ahead. I've jumped into this series and read up to date in terms of the English releases, and I'm really excited for what season 2 is potentially going to bring. There's a lot of great moments. There's a lot of cool stuff that can come in this season, and I'm really interested to see how it all unfolds and maybe the similarities and differences as well in this. Love Chizuru. This is probably my favorite Rent a Girlfriend volume cover out of all of them. I just love how happy she is, you know, blushing here, just giving that peace sign. I absolutely love it. Sumi is still best girl, but you know, Chizuru right here is really giving her a run for her money in terms of the excellent art. And come on, Kazuya, you gotta do something here. Finishing out the new release portion of this is Peach Boy Riverside Volume 7. Now, you've heard me say Peach Boy Riverside again and again. Read the series. Don't watch the series. Read the series. And finally, I'm going to be able to start reading this again because it's past season 1 of the anime. I believe Volume 7 now jumps into past where the first season of the anime took us. So I'm really excited to start reading this again. I think it's actually like a decent shonen series. And so especially if you love kind of fantasy type stuff with ogres, magic, swords, things like that, but also kind of anti-hero moments, because I do believe there's kind of an anti-hero in this series that's one of the main characters. Definitely try to pick it up. There is a mystery in this series as well in terms of powers, and it's very, very cool in my opinion. The art in here is really, really good, I think. So it also was weird because it took a while to find this. Like, it wasn't really delayed or anything like that. I don't know if shipments just came in later, or people just didn't put it on the shelves right away, but it took a while for Barnes and Nobles to like put this on the shelf, oddly enough, like 2 weeks. Before we jump into the new series that I'm putting on my bookshelf, just first want to say thank you so much for 900 subscribers on YouTube. It's super weird that 900 of you thought that it was cool enough to come back talking about manga, anime, Pokemon. I guess that's anime, so it makes me feel real good, so thank you. Once we hit 1,000 subs, I will do kind of a collection type video. I've been keeping a spreadsheet and keeping track of everything that I have, including the amount of volumes that I've read, how much of my collection is shonen, seinen, shoujo, josei, stuff like that, the percentage of publishers that my manga comes from, and also some other interesting stats like number in each genre, things like that. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see that video eventually. And then also, if you see any of these series that maybe you want to pick up, or a volume that you really, really like, maybe you didn't realize Rent a Girlfriend came out with volume 13 this past month, make sure to go in the description and click my Right Stuff affiliate link. From there, you can go in, you can buy your volumes from Right Stuff Anime, which, by the way, they've been really good lately in terms of shipping stuff, especially with their big birthday sale going on. This won't be until next month's video, but I was able to get like 8 Kaguya-sama volumes for like $40. Kind of a steal of the deal they got going on over there. Also, without paying any extra, I'll get a small cut of the money to get back into this channel and buy more manga volumes. Anyways, let's talk about the new stuff on my shelf. The first new series that I'm putting on my shelf, I actually think this is a newer release, like within the last 2 or 3 months. This is Colorless Volume 1. Now, I have not really heard too much. I think this is a series that not a lot of people are talking about as of right now. I've only seen one person talk about this series, my friend Eric over on Twitter, and he mentioned that this was pretty good. So I jumped into it. I needed like one more volume in a like Books A Million sale for their like buy 2 get the 3rd free or whatever. And so I decided with a relatively new release like this, I might as well jump on it to see what it is. I mean, I don't really know what it is. It looks kind of fantasy-esque in a way, like post-apocalyptic kind of style as well, this looks like. I mean, there's monsters in here, so guns, glory, and gals, my 3 G's that I like in a series. Oh, the cringe. I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm looking forward to jumping into it, and I hope it's really good, because I'd be excited to maybe jump on a volume 2 if that comes out soon. Now, a series that I didn't really know anything about, but I picked it up because of all the Pride Month tables at Barnes & Noble, and I loved it so much that I bought the 2nd volume of this series. I bought the first 2 volumes of I Can't Believe I Slept With You. Now, if you don't know this series, let me tell you that, I mean, it's kind of exactly what you think it is. You know, someone doesn't really know that they like girls, but all of a sudden they sleep with a girl one night. And yes, it has the trope, especially in the beginning, of, you know what, you sleep with the landlord and rent is pretty much free. But before you say, Jake, that's real cringe, that's only for like the first chapter or 2. It very much dives into something much more meaningful later in the first volume that made me really, really like where this was going in terms of a direction. This is a fun Yuri series that, you know what, it is a little bit hot. Also has some really cute, like, wholesome moments, you know, when they just like hold hands. Like it just feels good the way that they reacted. It just feels super wholesome, and like just the little different things, you know, that you kind of love in relationships, like when those appear in here, that's what makes the series worthwhile, and I absolutely love it. There's only 3 volumes in total that are going to come out in this series. Only 2 of them are out as of right now, so when the 3rd one comes, that'll be the end of it. And I just hope it's a good ending. I hope I really like it. It could go a couple different ways that I could predict, and I'm not trying to think about it because some of them make me sad and some of them make me angry, but also some of them make me really happy. But I'm excited to eventually see what is to come in this series, and I just can't wait. It's just so cute. But this shoujo series also looks really cute. We have Aoharu Ride. We have Aoharu Ride. Aoharu Ride. It could be that. Anyways, this is a very popular shoujo series. The scent of the air after rain and the light around us. I felt your heartbeat. It's a real tearjerker and really gets at the heartstrings. Maybe not necessarily a tearjerker, but this is a classic shoujo beat story that a lot of people love and adore. I believe it's like 14 or 15 volumes as of right now. And again, this was part of that Books a Million, like, oh, I need some series. Oh, I've kind of heard of this series. I've seen some people really hype up this series. And so I decided to jump on this and to get it. I've been looking for more shoujo, josei type series to put on my bookshelf to read, to kind of expand my horizons in terms as an otaku. And I'm really excited to jump into this one. A lot of people love this series. It also has an anime adaptation, I believe, so maybe I'll watch that here really soon, although I don't know when exactly. I'll have time now that the summer anime season is starting, but we'll get to there when we get there. Anyways, I'm excited to jump into this. It looks really cute from the stuff that I've been able to flip through and kind of the descriptions and a little bit of spoiler-free reviews that I've read of this series, and I'm very excited for it. Now, relationships are very hard. There's no guidebook on how to do a relationship, especially a Yuri relationship, and that is exactly what this series is about. How do we relationship? This is another Yuri series I just picked up to, again, Pride Month, picking up some Pride books because we celebrate Pride in this house. But the difference between this and the I Can't Believe I Slept With You is these characters both know that they're very much gay, but they've never really had meaningful relationships with other women. And so it's kind of navigating that space in terms of the social scene in Japan, you know, being in college, how they are themselves, and you know, what's too far, what's maybe too much, and different things like that, because let's all be honest, relationships are not easy. Regardless how you identify, you know, in terms of your sexuality, relationships are never easy. There's always stuff that you're learning, stuff that you got to work on. And so I think this series does a really good job embodying that, but in a situation for gay people, especially because these are very two different people in terms of their personality, experiences, things like that. And I actually read this first volume the other day, and I actually really liked it a lot. I believe there's like 5 series out right now of this. A 6th one is about to be on the way in July, I believe. I don't know if I'll pick that one up right away, but I'll definitely pick up more of these volumes because it was a good read. I really liked it. It left me wanting more, and so I definitely go out and get more. Plus, the art was really cute with these two. They had some really cute moments. Now, maybe you want cute characters, but you also want cool, calm, collected characters that make you go, wow, you're so cool. Shikamori's Not Just a Cutie, Volume 1. Now, you may be watching the anime that's currently airing of this series, but you also may be seeing a lot of hate towards this series. I don't know. I feel like I see a lot of people gripe about this series, and I love this series, not gonna lie. I mean I like it a lot, so like I can understand why people don't like it, though. A lot of people say that this is kind of like a typical shonen rom-com, like very cookie cutter, and the characters don't really feel unique, but I think they're really cool and really cute, and I think they've got a lot of good stories to tell in this. I believe Volume 1 just recently got reprinted, and so pick that up right away, and hopefully Volume 2 is easier to get as well, because usually what I've seen is it's pretty easy to get like Volumes 3 through 8 or 9, I believe, right now, but 1 and 2 is not very easy to find, so glad to pick this up. I've heard a lot of people say that the manga right here is better than the anime adaptation, which is really interesting because the anime is very well done in my opinion in terms of its animation. I think it's actually really done well in terms of its animation quality, so I'm excited to get into this and see the art in this series as well, because I love Shikamori. And again, you know, we talked about Komi Can't Communicate earlier. If you're a fan of Komi, you're a fan of Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, which if you're a Nagatoro fan, hopefully you're with me in that I'm so tired of getting delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. But soon I'll have the next volume of Nagatoro. But if you like either of those series, I do agree this is a good one to read and pick up and enjoy. Now, a shoujo series that I've literally never heard of before, but I saw for the first time, Perfect World Volume 1. Now, this is a series about love with disabilities. So something that I do not see often in terms of the manga community is disabilities, specifically physical disabilities. And so I'm really excited to read this, because even though our main character here, from reading the description, even though our main character is very open-minded, is very loving, just a great quality person, she has some prejudices that she doesn't realize about disabilities, especially when it comes to relationships. And it's very interesting in that basis, because even though it's kind of like a basis you're like, oh, I figured it would be like that, you know, it's not something that you see a ton of. And so I'm excited to jump into this. You know, I personally have not dated someone with a physical disability, so there's probably some prejudices that I have that I definitely want to make sure that I don't have, right? Because I consider myself a good person. I consider myself an ally. And so I think that this series will be good in terms of teaching and learning and things like that. And so I really like that about volumes. And these two just look so cute. Like, look at them. They just look adorable. And so I'm really excited to read this volume. Another one that I'm really excited to read, not because of the romance, but because it's really funny, apparently, The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting Volume 1. Now, I think this recently got reprinted because of the new anime that's going to be coming soon. This just looks like a funny series. I mean, just the title in itself says it all about the potential of this series. A Yakuza guy, a tough dude. I mean, you can see his tattoos here, the sunglasses, just a tough dude, absolutely beat the living daylights out of anybody that will do him wrong, is going to be babysitting a cute little gal. And he's got to be a good role model. Like, there's just so much that can go into this, and there's so much potential of this. I'm so excited to pick this up and try this. I've only heard good things about this series, and I believe there's only 2 volumes of this out right now, just 2 volumes, a third one on the way, and I'm excited to jump into this and potentially absolutely love this series. It looks just super funny, and again, just has the potential to just be hilarious. I mean, the babysitting the boss's daughter. I mean, you do the daughter wrong, you teach her the wrong ways, and you could literally die. So, like, oh my gosh, there's so much that could go into this. I'm so excited for it. So this final portion of the video is going to be consisting of volumes that I already had on my shelf. They're not new releases, but I was able to pick them up. So let's just go into it. The first volume I've got is probably what I'm most excited about. It is Mushoku Tensei Volume 2. Now, if you know me, you know I love Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. It's one of my favorite isekai series, and I'm super excited to be able to pick up another volume, one step closer to being up to date in this series, because if you yourself also read Mushoku Tensei or love Mushoku Tensei and you look for it, it's really hard to find, especially the beginning volumes like volume 1, 3, 7, 8, 9 type of deal. The rest of the volumes all the way up to volume 16 you can find relatively easily. I feel like I've seen them in a couple different stores, some of them a little bit more than others, but this is the first time I've ever seen a volume 2 of this series out in the wild since I've started collecting manga and light novels. And so I'm really excited to get into this, especially because when I read light novels and different manga series that have many that are out as of right now, I always like to read the first couple that I can get, you know, get a good run in the beginning of the series before jumping to a different series. Or maybe like I have the first 2 volumes, so I'll read the first 2 and then I'll jump jump into another series, you know, that kind of thing. And so I'm really excited to get going on this, to see, you know, Rudius's journey once again in terms of this series. It's very good in my personal opinion. Hopefully I'll be able to get more in the coming future. I know season 2 just dropped a beautiful, wonderful trailer, so hopefully that means that, you know, reprints coming soon eventually. I would love it if they specifically reprinted 3, 7, 8, 9 if anybody's listening and has power, 10 as well. Anyways, very excited once again to get this excellent series if you don't know it already. Another really good series that is a little bit different but still got kind of that dark edge, that dark gothic edge, is The Girl from the Other Side Volume 4. So this is the 4th of the series that I absolutely love. Again, beautiful covers and backs, just absolutely gorgeous volumes that they look on the bookshelf, really give off that gothic dark vibe. This is an excellent story with excellent art, in my opinion. I absolutely love this art style, and I'm very happy that I was able to pick up volume 4. I have volume 5 on the way as well, actually, and I think most of the others I'm able to find online, specifically through Right Stuff, so I'm very excited about that. If you want to get into this series, get the omnibus like hardcover volumes if you don't mind paperback versus hardback, because those are going to be the easier ones to get. This series is starting to get a little bit harder to get, in my opinion, which is why they're doing the hardcover omnibus run of the series. But it's so good. Nagabe has done an excellent job with this series, and I'm excited to continue to read more of this. Still have to watch the OVA, but very excited to keep going. Now, another series that's really hard to collect, and ooh man, I gotta get going if I want to keep going on this. It's One Piece volume 7, 8, 9. This is the 3rd omnibus, kind of, I think it's called omnibus when you have 3 of them. Either way, this is the 3rd installment of the combined series. Again, volume 7, 8, and 9. I really like One Piece. I'm not gonna say I love it because I'm not far enough in the series to really say I love it, but I do like it. I have seen the first kind of arc of the series and I enjoyed it, so no reason not to get the next couple volumes. Unfortunately, the volumes don't specifically line up to be able to fit in the box sets of the series. That's very sad to me, but I'm excited to continue in this series, the journey to become the Pirate King, you know, Luffy's extravaganza with the different straw hats as well. These volumes are a little bit harder to get, I feel like, because you can't get them in something like a box set. So you have to find these kind of volumes individually. I guess you can call it individually. But in my opinion, it's well worth it. I kind of like this style where it's like multiple volumes and it showcases a piece of each of those volumes specifically. I think that's really cool that I don't see on a lot of different omnibus volumes. You know, like I showed off Darling in the Franxx earlier and Maid Sama as well, and Wotakoi is also kind of omnibus for most of them anyways. And so again, I'm really into this style and I really like it. I'm excited to keep going on this in one of the most popular series of all time. Also one of the longest series of all time. Not the longest, but it's up there. Another series that's got plenty of volumes that I need to catch up on, Black Clover. This time I got volume 11 specifically. Now this is still part of the anime, so I know exactly what's going to happen in here, but I'm starting to get closer and closer to the end of the anime. I believe there's 28 or 9 volumes out right now, 28 or 29 currently in stock, and I just love this series. I love Asa as a main character. Sure, he's a little bit annoying in the beginning, but once you kind of get used to him and you kind of hear him a couple episodes, it's actually quite good, especially his development as the main character of this series. It's got plenty of good action, it's got plenty of good laughs, and it's got beautiful art as well. I mean, just absolutely insane. Look at that art and how gorgeous it is. Absolutely love it. I'm sorry if you got spoiled right there. I really enjoy the series. I'm glad to pick up volume 11 because volume 11 was a little bit hard to find and volume 12 is not so hard to find. So I'll be picking up volume 12 soon. Staying on the shonen, I picked up volumes 4, 5, and 6 of The Promised Neverland. Again, a series that I've started to collect because it's pretty easy to get these series in my personal opinion. I loved the first couple episodes of the anime when I watched it, and so jumping in, starting to get all these before, you know, they start becoming hard to find. The Promised Neverland is a very, very popular series and a very, very well-known series, especially for its anime, especially the first season. And the second season doesn't exist. But I'm glad to be able to pick up these volumes. I've noticed that since I've started picking up these volumes, it's getting a little bit harder to find the Promised Neverland volume. So I don't know if that's just because of, I mean, I'm probably not influencing the market at all, but maybe somebody's having the same idea as I am and starting to pick up these, you know. I mean, the series is not getting any younger now that it's a finished series. All 20 volumes have been released and finalized, so I'm excited to keep going on this series. I got to start getting a little bit more, and hopefully, you know, I get them before they run out. Or if there's a box set announced. I feel like they're going to announce a box set for this series sometimes in the future, because 20 volumes is like a really good number for a box set. I'll cry if they do. One series though that I know that is going to make me cry when it ends, it's Kaguya-sama Love is War. I got volumes 10 and 11 here this past month. I've started getting more and more of this series. I absolutely love how this anime ended in terms of its most recent season before the next installment was shortly announced after. It's literally one of the funniest series that I've ever watched, and I'm excited to jump into it because people are saying that the manga is just as good in terms of a laugh. It's an incredible rom-com, seinen psychological series with excellent characters, a wide array of characters, but also how they interact with each other is very, very good as well. It's part of the pull in this story, in my opinion, and I absolutely love it. Can't wait to get more and more of these. I bought a bunch, and I mean a bunch, in the Right Stuff birthday sale that's going on right now. So if you want more of those, again, check the description. Use my affiliate link. Do it! It's like $5 a volume right now. That's a steal. Now, moving into the light novels again, we got ReZero Volume 4, Starting Life in Another World. So I read the first volume and I actually really liked the first volume. I loved the premise of the series. I love the direction the first volume took, and I'm excited to see what continues more and more. If my volume 2 would ever show up, oh my gosh. I think the problem with it though is that I attached it to several different series that got super delayed, and so instead of Right Stuff being like, oh, we'll just send you the one volume and then the others when they're ready, I think Right Stuff was like, we're gonna hold it all together and send it to you at once. So I actually found like half of what was delayed in a Barnes and Noble, so I went and just got that. So I actually decided to just break it down into multiple orders so then I could get volume 2 right away. It's kind of sad. It's on its way here, but it's obviously not here yet, and so I will soon be continuing reading this. Not 100% sure when yet, but I'm excited to continue in this series. Very good. I think the storytelling was very done well, and very done well. Wow, English. But also the illustrations were beautiful in this series, so I'm excited to get into more of it eventually. Now, this is not as chaotic or dark, but it is seinen, I believe. Rascal Does Not Dream of Logical Witch. So this is the third installment of the Rascal Does Not Dream of series. Absolutely love this series and love this main character in this volume, Ryo Futaba. She's excellent in the anime. She's a great voice actor as well. I believe the same voice actor as Anya Forger in Spy Family. So there's your fact of the day. She does an excellent job of her range of voice, and it's one of the reasons why I love this character so much, and it's one of the reasons why I like this series, because I like the characters in this series. So very excited to get the third volume of this. I believe there's 6 of them out right now. There's maybe 5, 6 on the way, but either way, it's a good series. I really like it. It's not as chaotic, but it still is kind of chaotic, and definitely a good one to just jump into, especially if you like the anime. Also, the Peggies have a banger song in that OP, and so definitely very memorable. Also, the movie was really good. I watched the movie not too long ago, within the last couple months. It was really good. Made me cry. Now, a series that hasn't made me cry yet, at least, just aired its first season of the anime, The Executioner and Her Way of Life. So you may know that in a previous month I bought the first volume because I loved the anime as it aired on High Dive, and so I went ahead and bought volumes 2 and 3. Now I just need volume 4 to be up to date on the series. I absolutely loved the first season of the anime, and I'm excited to see where the next series takes it, volume 2 and beyond. I haven't read it yet to compare whether I like the source material light novel more or the anime adaptation, but I have this good feeling that I'm gonna like it. This is actually a Yuri series for anyone who does not know, so if you're still looking for LGBTQ stories to read, this is kind of like a light LGBTQ story. I mean, there is Yuri in it, yes, but it's very faint. It's very light in it. It's very light and it's subtle, and I kind of like that with this series. It focuses a little bit more on like the action aspect and the adventure and the mystery, which I think fits well for the story. It also has super powerful female characters, so if you love just super gung-ho, like super OP female characters, then this is a good story for you to read, because it's really, really good in my opinion. I'm excited to get into it. Now, not really Yuri, but heavy on the romance and the fantasy. We got the third volume of Fruits Baskets, the collector's edition. So these are starting to get a little bit harder to find. I've been a little slow on getting these, but Fruits Basket, a legendary series if you do not know. Not only did it have a good first run of the anime, but the revamped version of the anime that started airing in, I believe, 2019, just in my opinion, skyrocketed this series through the roof in terms of its popularity. One of the most popular shoujo series of all time. Actually, is it josei? I don't know if this is josei or shoujo, but either way, one of the most popular of all time in terms of this category. It's an excellent series in my opinion. It's very, very well told and very, very good. You may be aware of the Prelude movie that just started airing in theaters. You may have even seen the Prelude. I have not seen it as of myself yet. I'll probably wait for a while before I go see it. Still don't really want to go to movie theaters that much. I don't know. I pick and choose my battles. But if you want to get into the manga, I would say definitely jump into it this way. The series does not have box sets in terms of its volume, so this is the easiest way to jump in and get into the Fruits Basket series. You may have also seen, if you watched our video about Yen Press's recent announcements, how the spin-off series Fruits Basket's Another Volume 4 is coming out on Yen Press. They're putting out Volume 4 here very soon. So excited about that, and maybe I'll start jumping into the Another series. I see it every so often in stores, and it'll definitely probably be reprinted, the first 3 volumes as well, specifically because, well, they're coming out with Volume 4, so they want people to be excited and get the other volumes. Now, I don't know much about this series, but I did pick up Volume 1 recently. It is Volume 2 of The Land of the Lustrous. Now, I picked up Volume 1 recently because I saw that it was out of hiatus, and even though I still haven't read it yet, I've heard enough good things that I kind of felt that it was safe to pick up Volume 2. I kind of broke my rules and didn't read Volume 1 before getting Volume 2, but that's okay, because even though I don't know anything about it, I feel like it's going to be really, really good. I mean, either way, it is beautiful covers, some of the most beautiful covers that I've seen in anime and manga, and so I'm very, very excited to pick up Haruko Ichikawa's series and start reading it now that I have the first 2. It's going to be a little bit tricky getting the other volumes, I feel like, in terms of 3 through like 8 or 9 or so. I feel like after 9, 10, and 11, I kind of see those a little bit more, but a beautiful series full of action and adventure and mystery, and hopefully, you know, I enjoy it. Let me know if you enjoyed Land of the Lustrous as well. Now, this series specifically, I actually didn't know a ton about, but I knew about it several months ago when we put out the video where I gave chat my credit card to buy a manga. It is the first volume of Princess Jellyfish. So this is a josei series, I believe, Volume 1 of the series. I believe this is about like friends and kind of like finding oneself and kind of being comfortable with who you are, especially around other people that are a little bit different from you. But this was a series that was recommended to me by one of our community members, Maki Magic, and, you know, being true to my word, I said if I found this series, even though I wasn't able to buy it in that video, I would go out and find it. And I was able to find it recently. I think the Volume 1 got reprinted not too long ago, and so these are thick volumes too. Kodansha has made some thick volumes of this series. This is what, almost 400 pages in there, so excellent stuff. I know a lot of people kind of like this series as well, so I'm excited to jump into it, even though I don't really know anything about it. I think there's an anime as well. Yeah, there's an anime adaptation for it as well if you want to get into it yourself before you buy, because these volumes are just a little bit more pricey, being kind of bigger volumes from Kodansha. So still excited to try this out and get into it and see what it's about, really. But just a couple more series to go. We're gonna start off with the side story of the two. It is Danmachi on the side, Sword Oratorio, or Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon. One of my favorite series of all time, and I'm super excited for this anime starting to air on July 22nd. I've even started reading a lot of Danmachi just to refresh everything in my mind. This is the 7th volume of the side story series, so the next one to come up on my shelf. I believe there's like 4 or 5 more that I have to get in order to be up to date on the Sword Oratoria side story series, and I'm very excited. I'm super ready for it. I mean, I just love Danmachi so much. I love Greek mythology. I love this series, and I'm excited to jump into this, but I'm more excited for all of the main series light novels that I recently got. I recently picked up volume 7, 8, 9, and 11. Now you may be saying, Jake, you missed volume 10, you ding dong. What the heck? And that's because volume 10 is just not simply here yet. I picked up volume 10. I had to order it at the Barnes & Noble that I was at because, well, they just didn't have it. And my plan is to actually read all of the volumes of Danmachi, the light novels, before the anime starts airing on July 22nd. I'm on volume 4 right now. I'm just getting started tonight actually on that. I have to get through volume 11 in the series in order to be up to date with the anime, and I'm very excited about it because I get to relive the adventure that I absolutely love. Danmachi, one of the first anime that I actually like unhealthily binged because I liked it so much, and so very excited to see how Belle Cornell's adventure is told in this version. And I'm also really excited to read volume 8 because I believe it's volume 8. I know one of the volumes up to volume 11 wasn't really adapted in the anime, but people say that the volume that isn't really adapted in the anime actually has some characters and some moments that you're gonna want to know and gonna want to be able to pick up in the upcoming 4th season. So I'm very excited to jump into it. I absolutely love it. I've been loving the reread of the series. It's very interesting in the perspective that it's told for anyone who has read it or maybe has not read the Danmachi light novels. It's very interesting how much of the first person perspective they have in this series, and how much as well that they really lay on the theme of picking up girls in a dungeon. I mean, I know that's always a theme in the series, but the anime really doesn't hit it as hard as the light novel does, which I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's like a good thing, but it's just like one of those things that you just kind of notice, right? I mean, again, it's not good or it's not bad. Like I mean, it doesn't really add anything. It doesn't really take away from anything in the story so far, but very excited to continue on in this series. Again, I'll have volume 10 for next month's video. It's supposed to be here either like today or tomorrow, and it might have even arrived at, you know, while I'm recording. And that's going to be all the manga and light novels that I bought this month. Again, if you want to see more, maybe you want to eventually see my whole entire collection in terms of what I have and the different statistics on it that I've learned in collecting manga, make sure to go hit that subscribe button because I'll release that video once 1,000 subs comes our way on the channel. We're less than 100 more, so thank you so much for the support. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what you picked up this month along with recommendations. I'm always again looking for new stuff. I got a bookshelf on the way too, so a video will come out soon building a bookshelf because nothing could go wrong with that, right?